Malaysia has many beautiful rainforests. In the rainforest, we can find thousands of plant species. Competition occurs when two or more living things share the same resources. Plants often compete among the same species and also with different plant species for limited resources. Hello boys and girls! Good to see you all today. I'm teacher Elaine and thank you for watching iTTV. Do you still remember what we've discussed during the previous lesson? Yes, we have discussed about competition among animals, right? We've talked about tigers, hyenas, horses and even peacocks. Today we are going to learn about competition among another type of living things besides animals and humans. Can you tell me what is the other living things on earth? Yes, that's right. We are going to learn about competition among plants. Welcome back, boys and girls. Okay, can you tell me, can plants move about? They do not have legs, right? So unlike animals and humans, plants cannot move about. Due to this, their inability to move around to a more suitable place, plants have to compete for what they want at where they are at. Okay, so plants compete for water underground, right? And for sunlight above ground. Okay, so now we are going to talk about competition among plants in more details. Like animals, plants living in the same habitat have to compete for some factors in order to survive. Plants need water, air, and sunlight to make their own food. Unlike animals, sunlight is required for plants in order to photosynthesize. Without sunlight, the plants will wither and die as they cannot make their own food. When these resources are limited, plants will compete among themselves to obtain them. Plants, they compete for sunlight, water, nutrient, and space. Boys and girls, so you know that plants compete for so many different types of limited resources. We are going to look into each of them one by one. First, we are going to talk about plants compete for sunlight and see how they compete. Plants compete for sunlight. Boys and girls, can you see and observe that this is a diagram of a rainforest canopy? Okay, boys and girls, have you been jungle trekking before? Do you know what is a rainforest canopy? Okay, I'll show you on the board and make sure you pay attention, okay? Can you imagine how the rainforest jungle look like? Okay, you can see many big trees, right? How come these trees want to grow so big and tall? Well, the trees, they grow big and tall to receive sunlight, and they will form so many broad leaves to receive the sunlight for photosynthesis in order to make food for their own. Well, they being absorb 80% of the sunlight and moisture in the air. What about the plants beneath? Herbal plants, they are usually smaller in size and they are at the forest floor, right? So what about these plants? Have you ever thought about their ability in getting sunlight? Since this forest canopy is blocking the sunlight from reaching the forest floor. Okay, this is the sun's ray. There will be only limited amount of sunlight that reaches the herbal plants or smaller plants beneath. Well, however, some plants, they have adaptations to receive the sunlight. Let's see what adaptations they have and take a look at the slide. Let's take a look at epiphytes. Epiphyte is a plant that grows upon another plant or tree and derives its moisture and nutrients from the air, rain, and debris accumulating around it. This is an example of a diagram of epiphyte. Note at where this epiphyte grows. Okay? The epiphytes. They are also known as the air plants because they do not root in the soil. Now, boys and girls, I'm going to show you at where the epiphyte plants grow, okay? Let's see. This is the picture of the same rainforest canopy we have looked at just now. We have talked about the herbal plants which have received only limited sunlight due to blockage of sunlight from this forest canopy. Well, let's see the plants, okay? Epiphyte plants. The epiphytes, they grow on the host plant or tree, okay? So this is where they grow. They grow here. They attach to the host plant for what? They want to live on these host plants, the tree, the big trees, for mechanical support. And look, they will be able to live at a higher position. Thus, they will then be able to receive the sunlight. Clever plants, aren't they? Besides that, they will also be able to have an advantage over these short herbal plants for sunlight and water. Okay? Now let's look at the slides for further explanations on epiphytic plants. Okay? Epiphytic plants attached to their host for mechanical support high in the canopy have an advantage over herbs restricted to the ground, where there is less light and herbivores may be more active. An example of epiphytic plants. Some orchids are epiphytic. They live on host plants for mechanical support, and this enables them to receive more sunlight and also water. Boys and girls, there are also another different type of plant adaptation that enables these plants to climb up high to receive sunlight in the rainforest. Let's see. Lianas. Lianas are woody climbers that use trees to climb up the canopy, where they spread from tree to tree to get as much light as possible. Lianas are vines that begin life on the ground as small, self-supporting shrubs and rely on other plants to reach the light-rich environment of the upper canopy. Boys and girls, I'm going to show you now on the board how these clever lianas grow. The same forest again, where we have epiphytes, the short herbal plants, and now lianas, okay? Lianas are woody climbers. They will grow up on these big tree trunks. These are woody vines, okay? And see, these clever lianas can be able to grow up so high because of being able to form woody climbers of these tree trunks to receive sunlight. Clever lianas, right, aren't they? Let's see at other examples of plants that have their own adaptations to cope with these limited resources environment. The money plant. Have you seen the money plant before? It is also frequently known as the pokok duit. Look at how they grow on the tree trunks for adaptation. Children, do you know what morning glory plant is? Have you seen the morning glory plant? Yes, I'm sure you know, right? Clever boys and girls. Okay, these morning glory plants, do you observe that they also have climbers growing up fences and sometimes on other host plants in order to get sunlight too? Well, they are actually beautiful flowers, right? But little do you know, their ability to cope actually makes them as weeds, okay? They will kill other plants because they are able to cope better, okay? Now, let's see some aquatic plants. Floating plants. In a pond community, they receive more sunlight than submerged plants. They also have to compete with another for sunlight. Submerged plants. The submerged leaves of these plants receive low levels of sunlight because light energy diminishes while passing through a water column. Boys and girls, plants do not only compete for sunlight, right? You know that? What else does plants compete for? Yes, they compete for water. Let's see how these plants compete for water. Plants compete for water. Water is a limited resource on Earth. Plants have waxy leaf surface to reduce water loss. Boys and girls, can you name me a plant which grows in the desert? You know that in the desert there is a very limited water resource. So, what plant is it? Yes, the cactus. These cactus, have you ever thought about how they adapt to their environment where water is a very limited resource? Okay, we'll see. Plants do not only compete for sunlight. In desert ecosystems where water is scarce, the cactus plants do not grow very close together. Their roots, however, radiate out from the cactus plant just under the surface of the soil. The roots of a cactus need to absorb as much water as possible when it rains. In this ecosystem, it is the roots of the cactus plants which compete for space below the ground. The shallow and widespread roots enable the plants to absorb water from a wide area during the infrequent light rains that occur in the desert. Children, do you observe that the cactus plants, they do not have leaves? Think about that. These cactus plants which do not have leaves, why do they not want to have leaves? Well, this is because it is one of its adaptation. Without leaves, it will reduce its water loss. Another thing, it has roots that grows underground very extensively. There are many roots which can grow very deep underground to absorb water from the underground water. Okay? And these cactus plants, they also do not like living close to one another. They will be spread out in the deserts, okay? This is to avoid competition for space and nutrients and also water. Even underground, the extensive root system, they are so extensive that they are actually able to excrete some chemicals, thus inhibiting other roots of the cactus plants from coming close. Okay, boys and girls, now let's take a look at the slide. To avoid competition with their offspring or their baby plant, plants use animals, wind, and other mechanisms to disperse their seeds or spores away from the parent plants. Even so, plants normally produce a large number of seeds or spores to make certain that at least a few of them will germinate and grow into mature plants. Now we have just learned about the competition for water and sunlight. What is the other one? Yes, competition for space. Now I'm going to show you a simple experiment that you usually observe in your UPSR books on the board. This is an example of two conditions how the plants are planted, okay? This is P and this is Q. In condition P, the same seedlings with condition Q, the plants are planted 5 centimeters apart, alright? Whereas in Q, these plants are planted 15 centimeters apart. What is the difference between this and this? It is the amount of space, the distance between each plant, right? This distance is further. Boys and girls, after 1 month, what do you think will happen to the conditions of plants in P and in Q? Can you compare the amount of leaves that will be produced? Yes, after 1 month, you can observe that in Q, more or less leaves will grow compared to P. Yes, of course, more number of leaves will grow in Q, whereas lesser number of leaves will grow in P. This shows that the plants in condition Q is healthier. They do not have to compete for space and thus will grow more healthily. The health of the plants can be measured by counting the number of leaves produced in each seedling after 1 month. Okay? The more the number of leaves produced means the healthier the plant is. So in this case, definitely the seedlings in condition Q will be healthier than the seedlings in condition P after 1 month. Now let's look at the slide to see the conclusion for this experiment. Plants compete for space. Plants should not be planted too close together to avoid competition for space. When competition occurs, the plants that receive enough water, nutrient, and sunlight grows better and healthier. Weaker plants may become stunted, wilted, or die. Boys and girls, I hope you understood the experiment we have mentioned just now. Now, I'm going to let you think about one condition. Can you think about a condition where there is a very fertile environment where there are enough nutrients for the plants to grow? Do you think there will still be condition in this nutrient-rich environment? Yes, no? Well, the answer is yes. Even in this nutrient-rich environment, the plants will be very demanding for nutrients, okay? So these plants, the plants which have the ability to occupy space to grow broader leaves and roots will win, okay? So those who lose out will either die or wither. So you understand that competition among plants occur nearly at all environments. So what is the importance of the competition among plants? Is it important? Is it good or is it bad? Let's see. The importance of competition among living things. Living things, be it animals or plants, struggle and fight for the same basic needs. Competition among living things becomes more intense when basic needs are limited. What are the basic needs? For plants, it is water, nutrient, air, and sunlight, and space. Stronger and fitter organisms will survive in a competition. The weaker one find it hard to adapt and eventually dies. Competition among living things helps to produce new generation of living things that are stronger and fitter. Now, do you understand the term survival of the fittest? Like I've mentioned just now, the plants which is able to radiate more roots underground to absorb water and also have the ability to grow broader leaves or have waxy cuticles on leaves will help them to survive. Well, those that do not have these adaptations, they are termed as the weaker ones. They will die out eventually. So competition will cause the earth to have the fittest and the strongest plants. Competition among living things also help to control the populations of living things in a habitat. Besides that, it also reduces overcrowding in a habitat. And competition among living things helps to maintain the balance of nature. Okay, we have come to the end of the lesson and it's time for you to do some exercises. Which of the following factors cause competition between plants? 1. Air, 2. Water, 3. Sunlight, or 4. Space? And the answer is D. 2, 3, and 4 only. Plants do not compete for air because air is not a limited resource, although plants need air to survive. Let's move on to question number 2. Table shows the result of an investigation where the seeds are planted in pots of equal sizes. Okay, in pot PQR, the number of seedlings are different. You plant 1 in P, 5 in Q, and 9 in R. And the average height of seedling is biggest in pot P, which is 14 cm, and you can observe that the height is smallest in pot R, which gives you only a measurement of 4 cm. So, what is being investigated? Reproduction of plants, growth of plants, competition among plants, or is it plants compete for mate? And the answer is C. Competition among plants. This is because the number of seedlings that is planted more in the same pot sizes will show you a shorter average height of the plant, because more seedlings planted together in this limited space, they will compete for space, nutrients, and water. How did you do in the 2 questions I've given you? Good. Did you score all correct? Okay, that's good. Now we'll move on to vocabulary of the day. Air, udara. Competition, persaingan. Space, ruang. Sunlight, cahaya matahari. Nutrient is also nutrient. Okay, it's trivia time. This is a picture of a Rafflesia bud one day before opening. Boys and girls, do you know that the world's largest flower is the Rafflesia? It can weigh up to 11 kilograms. Now, boys and girls, we have finally finished our lesson. I hope you had an enjoyable time with me, and please do your experiment at home. I'll see you again soon in our next lesson, and thank you for watching iTTV. Goodbye!